On today's show, we visit Standish Humane Society, meet Pembroke Public Library new director, Julia Nee, hear original poetry about upcoming things to do in our area, and remember local fallen hero, Marine Lance Corporal Jeffrey Burgess. We are glad you're here. Let's get started. Standish Humane Society in Duxbury seeks to inspire a community in which all felines, feral and friendly, are cared for and understood. We went on the local scene to learn more about this positive nonprofit.
Standish Humane Society is a rescue group located on the South Shore of Massachusetts, particularly in Duxbury. And our mission is to find homes for homeless cats. Community cats, cats that are found outside. Then there are cats that people have to surrender because of different situations, but it's feline based, and our mission is to make sure that those cats are safe, spayed and neutered, and find homes for them. We offer an intake of cats that have to be surrendered for different reasons. Maybe somebody passed away, or somebody's moving, or somebody develops allergies. There's lots of different scenarios. We also offer low-cost spay and neuter to people in the community that maybe can't afford to go to a regular veterinarian. So we have all types of services for that, subsidies that you can go to your own vet for. We have Spay Wagon, Animal Rescue League, ARL clinics that come to our site with low-cost spay and neuter. We have different vets that participate in a low-cost spay and neuter clinics for us, so we can provide those to both the cats that are here in our shelter as well as the community. I got involved with Standish Humane Society because I have been volunteering in the rescue world for over 42 years. I started out with just doing cats in my own neighborhood when I was a little girl. Of course, finding kittens back then and bringing them home to mom and swearing I was just babysitting them. But of course, they never left. And back in the day, we weren't quite as educated about spay and neuter. So those would then procreate and we would have more and more kittens in the neighborhood. I would find homes for them. But today, we're more educated about that. So I started volunteering for different rescue groups. Once I found Standish Humane Society, I knew I found my home. I feel like this organization speaks volumes for how I feel about the passion of both the cats that are homeless and the cats that are feral, that can't go into someone's home, but they need to be spayed and neutered to make sure that their quality of life, whatever that life is the best it can be.
I became a volunteer with Standish about 5 years ago. Before that, I had volunteered with another animal group as well as a couple of other organizations that were non-animal related. I think I just became a volunteer to find something in myself, to find some self-worth, to make a difference, to help, whether it was with people or pets, just to help out in the world.
I think the work is so important because they can't speak for themselves. So whether it's a dog, a cat, any domestic animal, they don't have the ability to cry out and say, I need help, I'm lost, or someone deserted me, or someone never helped me. They all need help.
The work here at Standish is so important because there is just an unbelievable amount of cats that are in need, whether it is an owner who maybe is now struggling financially or with just their own home, that maybe they've needed to move out of their place that they were living and they can no longer take their cat. So there's needs to help owners with surrenders. Sometimes we have calls from people who have, in good faith, taken on some cats, but then not gotten them spayed and neutered. And what started out with 2 or 3 cats now has become 20 or 30 cats, and they just don't know what else to do. So Standish can help them. And then there's just so many cats that are outdoors through no fault of their own, but these cats reproduce outside and just out there trying to survive. We provide a safe space for people to bring their animals if they need to. We provide a safe space for these outdoor cats to get vetted, spayed, neutered, and then decide what the best course of action is for the rest of their lives. Animals that have touched my heart since I've been with Standish are the unneutered males that we trap outside, and some of them have been adoptable, and that is just amazing. It's just wonderful to see how resilient some of these cats are, that they may have been outside for 2, 3, 4, 5 years trying to survive, but you knew at one point in time that they had a home because they start responding to you once they're neutered. And it is such a hard life for these male cats to live outside unneutered. They fight, they can get diseases, they roam 2 to 3 miles, sometimes more, in search of an intact female. And it's just such a hard life. So even if this cat is determined to be truly feral and the best place for them to go is to their outside home, knowing that they're no longer going to be making babies, knowing that they're no longer going to be roaming looking for intact females, that even though they're living outside in that untraditional home to us, their lives are going to be so much better. And so when I see these chubby-cheeked, big males that come in that need to get neutered, regardless of what kind of a home they go to, whether it's their outside home or a more traditional home in with a family, they're the ones that really touch my heart because it's such a hard life for them when they're not fixed.
I think in particular, the cats that are either hit by a car or get really injured by coyotes and things like that. I just feel like they didn't choose that. And I know, with a coyote, there's a natural cycle of life, but these are domestic cats that touch me, that somebody didn't do right by. Somebody either deserted them or left them outside to fend for themselves, and they're not able to do that. They're not wild animals. There are wild cats and there are domesticated cats. And to take a domesticated cat and think that it can defend itself against a wild animal is not fair. And so when I see those cats desperate for help, and we've had a few that were on death's doorknob, crying under someone's porch, and they cost thousands and thousands of dollars to either heal or they have to be euthanized, I think that's what touches me the most. We most recently had a cat named Penny. She was only 6 months old and she was hit by a car. She was completely, even with a broken hip, this cat was purring. She was a domesticated, owned by somebody cat that somebody let out, and she got hit by a car. And she was in so much pain with a broken leg and a broken hip. And yet even through that, manipulating her in the vet's office, I stood there while she purred. And those are the things that touch me the most, I think. Maybe people think I can't volunteer until I retire. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can volunteer before you retire, because I work a lot. You don't have to volunteer the amount of crazy hours I do, but people can do anything from doing something remotely, writing thank you notes for us from your home, doing adoption applications from your home. We have someone who does our IT and our website. They do that remotely, to coming into visiting a cat or socializing a cat or cleaning a cage. There's just endless opportunities, and all of that can be done by going onto our volunteer page and offering to just do something. And then we chat with you and see, what are your gifts? What do you want to do? Or what do you bring to the table that you might not have thought of that could help us?
The benefits of volunteering are just building your self-worth and knowing that you're doing some good in the world. And it's given me a sense of confidence. There's just so many ways I believe that volunteering can make a difference to yourself.
The rewards outweigh any amount of time or effort that I personally or I hear anyone else put in. I gotta tell you that I work a full-time job as a director, so I have a really big job. I have grandchildren, I have a husband, a house, I have a social life. At the end of the day, I lay down at night and just go, I wish I could have done more. I love it. I love the end result of knowing that the cat that was on the street is now in someone's warm house in front of a fireplace, or the cat that wasn't friendly enough for adoption is at least spayed or neutered and vaccinated, and that's the best life we can give it. Those are the things that I feel really, really passionate about and I feel good about.
The global COVID-19 pandemic is hopefully, for the most part, in our rearview mirrors, but the trauma associated with it lingers still in our collective consciousness. Could it happen again? Join Sabrina Schultz, curator of biological anthropology at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, for How We Create Pandemics, From Our Bodies to Our Beliefs, a virtual event with the Duxbury Free Library held on Tuesday, February 4th at 2 p.m. Drawing from her book, The Human Disease, Schultz will identify and discuss the human traits and behavior that make pandemics an inescapable threat. She will also illuminate the more hopeful note of how the capacity of our extraordinary human brains allow us to recognize risks, devise solutions, and adapt future action plans based on what we've learned to reduce the devastation of a future pandemic. Visit the Duxbury Free Library events calendar to register for this virtual presentation. Plymouth has something that appeals to everyone, even ocean predators. As our seal population continues to grow, white sharks are increasingly spotted locally, just offshore. On Wednesday, January 29th at 1:30 p.m., the Plymouth Center for Active Living is holding a fantastic conversation with Plymouth Harbor Master Chad Hunter to talk about this growing shark presence and other harbor projects, both current and historical. The session will be moderated by CAL Activities Coordinator Beth Hadfield, is free to attend, and refreshments will be served. You are welcome to drop into the event. Registration is appreciated but not required. We were privileged to work with staff at Plymouth Memorial Hall and the families of our fallen soldiers to shine a light on the lives of the local heroes who wore the uniforms now displayed in the Hall of Flags. With their permission, we share the story of Marine Lance Corporal Jeffrey C. Burgess.
There's a lot of memories of Jeff, even though he was only 20 years old when we lost him. I think my favorite memory of Jeff is always celebrating Plymouth, his love for the town that he grew up in, his pride for being a direct descendant of the Mayflower, going to all the many parades, being with family. He was a big family kid. He took a lot of pride in the fact that he had a wonderful family. The shock of the amount of outreach that we received when Jeffrey was killed was pure amazement, like not just here, but across the entire country. And he did something somewhere that touched somebody evidently all the time, because strangers would reach out to us through email, through phone calls and whatnot, and just express what a wonderful person he was. To lose a child to any parent is traumatic. To lose a child to war is now a public death. And so I felt like it was sharing the loss with everybody, which was very comforting at many times. Although the loss was beyond horrific, we all learned to be better people because of Jeff. He's alive every day. Every day. I talk to him, I know, my kids always, we never treated him like he went that far away. Whether you believe in that or not, that's how we keep his memory alive. We participated in as many things as possible like this to make sure that future generations know Jeff. Yeah, so that's how we keep him alive.
We honor those we've lost and will continue to say their names and remember them. You can visit the Hall of Flags at Plymouth Memorial Hall, located at 83 Court Street. Where do you start if you're wading into the experience of buying a home for the first time? The process can be bewildering and overwhelming. A good place to start may be at the Adams Center in Kingston on Tuesday, February 4th for the first of the Home Buying Seminar Series, 3 classes to help clarify the entire process and ease the path to home ownership. How to obtain a mortgage, the first in the series, will be taught by Michael Fleming, Rockland Trust Vice President and Senior Loan Officer. You'll learn how to qualify for a mortgage, save for a down payment, and about the pre-approval process. Fleming will additionally discuss interest rates, mortgage products, what happens after an offer is accepted, private mortgage insurance, and various programs available to first-time homebuyers. This class will run from 6 to 7 p.m., and you can register via the Kingston Public Library website, where you will also find information about the 2 other classes in the series, Looking for a Home and an overview of the new MLS rules, taking place on Wednesday, February 5th, and How to Close a Real Estate Transaction, happening on February 11th. When musicians band together and create music, they increase oxytocin levels and release endorphins. More plainly, jam sessions inspire bonding, increase feelings of trust, and make people feel close to one another. If you'd love some rhythmic connection and melodic conversation, don't miss the Pembroke Public Library's Acoustic Music Night on Wednesday, February 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. Folk, pop, Americana, soft rock, R&B, or blues. Choose a few favorite songs from the genres you enjoy playing and bring the sheet music so others can join in. All types of acoustic, string, and wind instruments are welcome, and other instruments will be considered, just no electronics. And if jamming turns out to be your jam, Acoustic Music Night is a monthly event happening every first and third Wednesday in the library's meeting room. Last October, the Pembroke Public Library welcomed Julia Nee as the new library director. We went on the local scene to talk to Julia and learn more about her history with the library.
I see the library as a hub for connecting people to information and inspiration, and then also to other people in their community. I'm a big library user personally, and I've always loved reading and loved being in libraries. But I worked here at Pembroke actually back when I was getting my degree, and my time here as a library aide really made me fall in love with public libraries and the difference that a public library can make in the lives of their community members. So now here as the director, I really want to bring that passion for what services the library can provide to my new role. The library prides herself on being in a welcoming space for everybody, and we try to offer programs that are appealing to everybody in the community. But that doesn't always mean that each program or each service we offer will be applicable to everyone at every stage in their life. So while we try to do these big overarching programs that will have mass appeal, we also do very specific and targeted programs, especially in our kids' room. So like for story times, we do a baby lap sit for 6 to 24 months, and then we also do a different story time for kids aged 2 to 5, just because they have different needs and they have different wants, and so targeting very specific groups and providing programs and services that they ask for and that they respond to is something that we pride ourselves on. So one part of the collection that I'm really happy with and that we're continuing to expand is these things called Wonder Books. So they're a really cool integration of like technology and hands-on learning. So they're kids' books that have a built-in audiobook in the back, so kids can read and have the book read to them at the same time. And kind of those two different learning tools have been found to be very successful for kids' education and kids' literacy skill growth. We have, I think, really embraced technology as a library. We have quite a few different digital platforms that allow people access to the library's resources, things like books and magazines and audiobooks and movies, music. All of those people have the availability to stream for free through the library with their library card at home or wherever they are in the community. So technology has really helped the library push beyond our four walls into other spaces in the community. We've worked pretty hard to establish relationships with the local organizations and local schools. Our children's librarian is wonderful at outreach. She visits the schools very regularly, and then we do try to hear feedback from them and incorporate what they're working on in the curriculum to our collection. So one specific thing right now is we're working on adding more decodables, which is a style of like phonics or learning to read books, to our early reader collection to align with what the school's curriculum is doing right now for early literacy. I mean, I feel like the future is wide open. The library has always served as a research and education center, and I think it's a natural evolution to really include more hands-on or technology learning. to what people are looking for from the library. I know there are some libraries that are able to have dedicated maker spaces or technology spaces. Libraries are a natural place for more hands-on STEM education. Technology is only going to continue to advance faster and faster, and people still look to the library as a place of reliable information and help when they're coming across these technology issues. So for adults, I guess I still see the need for libraries and technology and for help, and for kids, again, I think it's a natural transition to provide more hands-on learning. We really could do everything that we do here without our great team in the library and great support from the community. I think our staff is one of the more welcoming parts of the library, and that's one of the things we get compliments on all the time, is how helpful and inviting our staff is. We do also have a wonderful support network outside of the library with the Pembroke Public Library Friends and the Pembroke Public Library Foundation. The Friends just did a great book sale for us, and they're able to support wonderful initiatives here in the library, like our bestsellers collection. Our foundation is currently working on doing an expansion to the children's room, so that's something we're looking forward to in the future. So I think in 5 to 10 years, the library will continue to be a vital hub for information and innovation. I am so excited to be back at the Pembroke Library, and I can't wait to find new and innovative ways for the library to respond to the community's needs. I hope you come visit us soon.
Even in the winter months, plant life supports the wildlife community. Find out more about how by putting on some walking shoes and joining Mass Audubon for a jaunt around the Tidmarsh Wildlife Sanctuary on Saturday, January 25th. This free guided walk will focus on native plants and how ecological landscaping and restoration efforts create a healthy, revitalized landscape that supports local ecosystems. The native plant walk sets off at 11 a.m., should finish by 12:30, and will be most enjoyed by adults and families with children ages 8 and above. For questions, call 508-927-1200 or email southeast@massaudubon.org. Artificial intelligence has struck a chord of fear in the creative community. What does this emerging technology mean for artists? On Saturday, February 8th at 2 p.m., Plymouth Center for the Arts welcomes C.J. Blackthorne, who will pull the curtains back to remove some of the mystery around AI. There will be an introduction to the what and how of generative AI, covering the basics of how it works and what all that techie terminology means. Then the discussion will delve into controversies, ethical implications, how to prevent being tricked by generative AI, and how you can protect your own work from being used for machine learning. Understanding AI, a primer for artists, costs only $5. Visit the center's website to get your tickets. Next up is poet Marilyn Gove in a reading of her original work.
Hi, team. This is not a poem about pipes. Okay. You can write your own, I'm sure. Actually, on Memorial Day, I often think of my cousin, David Prost, who's passed. He was a war veteran. And I've read this poem before, only once, but I felt like I wanted to honor him this year and read it again. It's a prose poem, and it's in 4 parts. It does involve my Jewish heritage, so you will hear some Hebrew or Yiddish words, which I think most of you are familiar with by now because I brought a dictionary to explain them all last time. But I think the poem, when I read it yesterday, really is a message he's giving to us about war. The title, At the Unveiling of a Jewish War Veteran. 1, the unveiling. It is 100 degrees in the shade. Family gathers in shorts and sandals to pay their respects. No one wears black. A niece pulls up on a red Harley. Her entrance startles everyone. Women in sun hats move in circles and kibitz about the old days. Their foreheads bead with schwitz. Men walk the perimeter, arms folded behind their backs. The rabbi arrives wearing a tallis and silk yarmulke. We walk in single file to the sun-baked grave. 2, the veteran's sister. I loved my brother. He was such a hoot, taught himself how to play piano, graduated college with an aeronautical engineering degree, became a lieutenant in the US Navy, piloted planes. He loved the sky. Up there he could bear his soul, dress it with wings. Then came Vietnam. The killing. His lifetime holed up in a psych ward. I wanted more for him. I miss him so much. The mourner's Kaddish begins. Yiskadal ve Yiskadash Shemay Rabbah. 3, the women kibitz about the veteran. I'm telling you, he was Hollywood handsome, runner-up to Tony Curtis. A real looker in that uniform, just gorgeous, and such a mensch. So much potential he had. We talked once, maybe twice, hard to remember. His whole life ahead of him, marriage, children, a career. Did you ever hear him on piano? A sound so beautiful, it made you kvel. A boy like him, sensitive, thoughtful, nothing left but the Michigas. 4, the final entry from the Veterans Journal read by the niece. Thou shalt never drop napalm over villages of Viet Cong. Thou shalt never call those different from myself hurtful names. Thou shalt never put females and children in harm's way. Thou shalt never trust leaders who forsake their veterans. Thou shalt never follow any god into battle to kill others. Thou shalt never use firebombs to feign peace. Thou shalt never fly. Thou shalt never fly. Thank you.
A dinner of cordon bleu and acoustic music too. That's what's on the menu for Winter Wonderland at the Pembroke Council on Aging on Tuesday, January 28th. Walk into this winter wonderland for a delectable dish of chicken and delight in acoustic music entertainment, compliments of guitarist California Carl, a theatrical and fun-spirited performer who plays well-known tunes by everyone from Elvis to the Beatles. The fun starts at 12 p.m. at the Senior Center. Visit or call 781-294-8220 to register. Wednesday, February 5th at 1 p.m., the Duxbury Senior Center will be serving an appetizer of suspense, betrayal, and murder at a luncheon with New York Times best-selling author Pam Jenoff. Her new book, Last Twilight in Paris, is a thrilling novel of love and survival that best-selling author Janet Skesley-Charles raved is imbued with heart and hope, twists and turns, betrayal and enduring love. It's a taut mystery that will keep you reading into the night, compelling and powerful. Visit the Senior Center's website to register for this riveting literary luncheon. The author talk is free, and the luncheon, only $15. A book signing will follow the event. The Teen Room at the Kingston Public Library will be the location of a 2-day Dungeons & Dragons DIY workshop exclusively for kids aged 11 and up. Teen and tween fantasy enthusiasts will use epoxy resin to construct a unique set of Dungeons & Dragons dice, customized to them or a favorite fantasy character. D&Ders will pour their dice on February 6th and finish them at the following day's session. Both workshop days start at 3 p.m. and are about 45 minutes long. Registration is required and can be dungeon, the library's website. This New Old House, a construction tour of the English Village, is an exclusive up-close tour of the Alden and Winslow houses reproductions being built in the 17th century English Village at Plymouth Patuxent Museum. During this January 30th walkthrough, you'll see the construction in action and get behind-the-scenes information on how the museum is readying the next generation of reproduction houses to ensure that millions more people get the immersive experience of walking directly through the story of Plymouth Colony. The tour kicks off at 10 a.m. and will wrap up at 11:30. Cost for tickets is only $10. Sign up now by visiting the museum's website. Wrap up in your favorite flannel and come enjoy delicious complimentary bites at Flannels and Flatbreads, the Jordan Hospital Club's pre-Polar Plunge open house. Uva Wine Bar is the setting for this cozy and chill event that is the official kickoff of JHC's 2025 Polar Plunge fundraising efforts. From 5 to 8 p.m., you'll munch on a variety of flatbread pizzas, learn about the 23rd annual Plymouth Polar Plunge, and register your team to participate in the Icy Dunk happening on Saturday, March 1st. The plunge raises money for the JHC Cancer Center at Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, Plymouth. In 22 years of plunges, JHC plungers, sponsors, and donors have raised over $1.5 million for the JHC Cancer Center. Let's add on to that this year. The Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra, led by conductor Stephen Kurdianis, is thrilled to invite the community to You've Got a Friend, the music of the Brill Building, an orchestral journey back to that vibrant time in music. If you've never heard of the Brill Building, you have heard the music that emerged from this 1960s era hub of sensational sounds. Songwriters, musicians, and producers converged in this Midtown Manhattan building and contributed to hundreds of Billboard Hot 100 charters. Names like Neil Diamond, Carole King, Burt Bacharach, and Neil Sedaka got their start in the Brill Building, penning many of the timeless tunes still in heavy rotation today. Special guest vocalists Scott Coulter, John Boswell, and premier Broadway belter Jessica Handy will be featured, performing classic hits such as You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, Stand By Me, and I'm a Believer. Tickets are now available for 2 dates. Both performances are at Plymouth Memorial Hall, located at 83 Court Street in Plymouth. Ticket prices range from $30 to $100 per attendee and can be purchased online at plymouthphil.org or by calling 508-746-8008. And that, my friends, wraps this episode of The Local Scene this week. We thank our patrons, Tiny & Sons, Quintal Brothers, and Squinny's Pizza for supporting our mission of community in action through media. And we thank you for watching. If you have a story or event you'd like people to know about, email us at story@thelocalscene.media. And if you live or work in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, or Duxbury and would like to have your own show or podcast, you should. Email community@thelocalscene.media to find out about our free production services and training for community members. We'll be back next week with more of what's good and good to know in our community. Until then, we'll see you on The Local Scene. For more of what's good and good to know on the South Shore of Massachusetts, hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching.